What's more fun than a zombie or cannibal film? If you said an Italian film with zombies and cannibals, then you're in for a treat today. Welcome to Sick Flicks, where I take a deep dive into the cinematic sewer to help you embrace your inner gore geek. I'm Mike Bracken, aka the Horror Geek, and today we're examining Marino Girolami's Italian splatter flick, Zombie Holocaust. Released in 1980 and eventually remixed as Dr. Butcher MD, this spaghetti gore fest is short on logic but brimming with carnage. It's the perfect bridge between the wildly popular Italian cannibal films of the 1970s and the classic Italian zombie cycle that dominated the early 80s. Propelled by a nonsensical story, campy dialogue, and some impressive special effects, this one puts the cult in cult classic. But just how gory is Zombie Holocaust? Let's get to the gore and find out. The film opens with this title card. Literally. It's the first shot. Nice to see this movie isn't wasting any time. It's also nice that they basically just superimposed the credits over this dark and grainy still shot. I feel like this movie is really sparing no expense in terms of production values. Seriously, someone just pause the movie? Directed by Frank Martin, aka Marino Girolami. No idea how he got Frank Martin out of that. Fun fact, Girolami was famed Italian genre director Enzo Castellari's father. Oh nice, someone finally pushed play on the movie. After the credits, we jump into this dark building, where the snazziest cat burglar ever is doing his thing. He's not really here to steal anything, he's just reenacting the breaking into the morgue scene from Reanimator. Look, I'm no OSHA inspector, but shouldn't those corpses be chilled? Since when does the morgue keep bodies at room temperature? After picking the perfect corpse, he gets his tools. Clearly, the film's soundtrack was attached to his briefcase. That's very handy. But not as handy as this amputation. What the hell's going on with this Foley work? Sounds like he might need some WD-40 on that wrist joint. Huh, maybe this room is chilled. Looks a bit nipply in there. Look, I know you're dead, but I'm gonna need you to lend me a hand. Apparently the hand is for later, because he stuffs it in this to-go bag. The next day, class is in session, but Dr. Mengele here discovers someone's already started carving up his cadaver. Undeterred by the missing hand, he makes his first incision right through this spongy rubber pie crust. Looks like cherry. Spatula. Now, who wants the first slice? I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to send this back. This is clearly raw, not medium rare.
I bet it was you chopped that hand off.
Mike, why'd you say that?
Well, didn't you say you wanted a hand to help you study?
Hey, I don't know how many times I gotta tell you bit part actors, but I'll make all the stupid jokes in these videos. Dr. Mengele here doesn't like the joke either. See me after class, Brad. After that, it's time for some exposition.
Frankly, I don't understand it. Why something like this would make sense in a society of primitive savages, but today in New York City?
Ah, yes, it would totally make sense for primitive savages to treat a hospital morgue as a takeout joint. In another nearby movie, we take a ride with this anthropologist and his colleague Lori. Clearly, they're out here looking to do a study on the elusive Derelictus alcoholicus coming to New York City. While they're looking for a test subject, she's telling him about the missing body parts. He's nonplussed.
That sounds to me like a student gag, a fraternity initiation task.
Back in my day, we had to have sex with a goat. Stealing a hand? That's child's play. Back at the hospital, someone's been snacking in the morgue again. Today's special? Ribs. Lori and Dr. Mengele come in for the buffet, but the delicious heart meat is already gone. After that, Lori heads home. I admire the interior design. That chair is practically invisible next to the wallpaper. So, if you're keeping score at home, actress Alexandra Delli Colli is making her second appearance here on Sick Flicks. Last time she was here, she was busy hooking up with a poor man's Eric Estrada in New York Ripper. After a gratuitous clothes-changing scene, she heads out to the living room to summon a demon. Or something. The ritual is interrupted when this reporter shows up. She's here to ask questions about the mysterious cannibalism at the hospital. After some more jibber-jabber, Susan here comments on the decor.
How come all the primitive relics?
Well, I'm 1/8 cannibal on my mom's side of the family. I like to keep in touch with my roots. Then we get a little dagger foreshadowing.
What's that?
It's a ceremonial knife for human sacrifice.
Huh. Wonder if that's going to be important later. Later that night, our cannibal's back and raiding the break room fridge again. Oh yeah, white meat on the menu tonight. He's about to chow down, but he's busted by Dr. Mengele. The orderlies are about to lock him up, but he breaks free and jumps out the window. I regret nothing. My favorite part of this scene is that the mannequin they tossed out the window loses its arm on impact, but the cannibal orderly clearly has both arms attached in the next scene. Continuity is hard. Anyway, somehow this dude's still alive. Got any last words?
Keto.
God, you just can't get people to stop talking about that keto diet. It's like CrossFit. Then he dies. Wait a minute, was that mark painted in nail polish on his chest the same as the one on Laurie's sacrificial dagger? Dun dun dun. The next day, these dudes admit they have no idea what keto is.
Keto means nothing at all to me.
They're probably more familiar with the Atkins diet.
And what does it stand for?
Ketogenic, duh. Turns out this is actually some word tied to an island somewhere in the East Indies. And Laurie totally knows that because even though she's so white she makes the Pillsbury Doughboy look like Chris Rock, she's totally an anthropologist into Southeast Asian tribes too. Ian McCulloch's Dr. Chandler then informs us that cannibalism is happening in other cities. Don't believe him? He's got a slideshow to prove it. That's like an old-timey PowerPoint for you kids. While they're looking at this alpha version of Best Gore, Laurie spots that strange tattoo again. Well, I mean, it would be hard not to after that freeze frame and zoom and all. The next day, they meet with Dr. Stafford, who draws that symbol again. Okay, movie, we get it. It's the Cannibal Island symbol. You don't have to bludgeon us to death with it. Laurie tells Dr. Chandler she's out, but when she gets home, her place has been ransacked and her ceremonial keto dagger is gone. Damn it, now how will I fight carbs? Chandler conveniently shows up, looking like he's cosplaying Connor McLeod. Did I tell you there can be only one? And just in case you hadn't figured out that the dagger was missing, here's another insert shot. Then it's time for another drive-in scene. And man, this movie really loves drive-in scenes. Hey, if it's not too much trouble, could we maybe get Ian McCulloch in focus? Anyway, you can totally tell this is a movie because no one ever finds a parking place this easily in New York City. This also seems like a good time to point out that the only thing Zombie Holocaust loves more than scenes driving through New York is establishing shots of buildings, apparently. After that, it's time for some more exposition. Chandler wants Laurie to come on his island expedition, but she's not down for it. Turns out she grew up on this island. Because of course she did. Just then, George and Susan show up. If 2's company and 3's a crowd, then 4 is an expedition to a made-up island where cannibals and zombies run wild.
I'll bet she's been telling you I'm a rude and nosy bitch.
Well, now that you mention it. And from there, we awkwardly jump cut to this island. Hey, get your ass out of the way. What? I was talking about the donkey. George here basically looks like a trimmed-up Italian exploitation film version of Bob Ross. We're gonna find some happy little zombies, because even zombies need a friend. Their first stop is to meet Dr. Obrero. That's right, that's Donald O'Brien making his second appearance on Sick Flicks. You may remember him as the rapey, impotent jungle explorer in Emmanuel and the Last Cannibals. While we're here, we might as well add another guest to the party. Everyone give a warm Sick Flicks welcome to Jungle Guide Mulatto. Laurie heads to her room so we can get a little gratuitous nudity, but look out, she's being watched. Is that zombie Peter Bark? She's about to call it a night, but someone left this maggoty head prop from Dario Argento's Phenomena in her bed. Oh, and that symbol. This movie's not gonna let you forget that.
Calm down, Miss Ridgway. If the natives had wanted to do you any harm, they could easily have done so.
Yeah, calm down, lady. I mean, Jesus, it's just a maggoty severed head in your bed. The next day, the expedition gets underway, with some Nico Fidenko music lifted directly from Emmanuel and the Last Cannibals. Recycling is important. Hey, should you be smoking weed and drinking booze while driving the boat? Back on deck, Ian McCulloch scans the horizon looking for the movie's plot. Found it, due north. But before they can get there, they've got engine trouble. So Chandler wants to divert to a nearby island.
It's gonna be dark soon.
Look at Mulatto. He's like, what the hell are you crackers talking about? It's the middle of the afternoon. That night, they're ready to turn in, but then this happens. One of their expedition is missing, but Chandler offers up this stunning bit of compassion.
Well, it's too dangerous to go out there now. If he comes back, he comes back. Otherwise, we'll just have to search for him at first light.
At daybreak, they decide to mount a rescue mission, and immediately decide to split up. Great idea, Dr. Chandler. Susan tags along with Chandler, and I'd just like to point out that he should probably take that pistol out of the holster. Then she spots the missing dude. This is hilarious. He's right out here in the open. I mean, how could you miss him? After some discussion, Chandler assures everyone this was a boating accident and there's nothing to worry about at all. These guys aren't buying it, though. This was no boating accident. After Discount Bob Ross tells these guys to bury their pal, we cut to Laurie. What is she staring at? If you guessed it's the keto symbol, give yourself a screenwriter's credit. Man, that was the shakiest zoom in ever. That camera operator might be drunk. Chandler's like, damn kids and their graffiti. Mulatto, which really sounds like something I'd order at Starbucks, tells Chandler they're heading to keto. Except Chandler's not just a doctor anymore, now he's a cartographer too. He insists this is keto.
This is keto.
If you listen carefully, you can hear Mulatto thinking, white people. After that, they head deeper into the jungle. Then this dude shows up.
You see what I see.
Yeah, a cosplayer? Probably just looking for the rest of their LARP party. The boat guys decide they've had enough of this and flee. But as Admiral Akbar would say, it's a trap. This dude's gonna stick around for a while. The natives are all about fresh food, so they run up and slice the dude's throat and start chowing down. This is like the jungle equivalent of that buffet spread at Whole Foods, I guess. Then Chandler and the others show up and start blasting. Are they using a paint gun? There's just a red splotch here and no hole. That night, they settle in and Chandler calls the producer. Yeah, look, I signed on to be in a movie called Zombie Holocaust or Dr. Butcher MD. I've seen neither a zombie or a butcher doctor so far. Why didn't we just call this Cannibal Holocaust? Oh, that title was taken? I see. He's actually calling Dr. Obrero, who sends them to find some random building. How does he know where they are on the island since they're on the wrong island? Come on, Zombie Holocaust isn't concerned with narrative logic, man. After that, the fellas set up for guard duty. It's nice that they're 3 feet apart and no one's watching the rear. See what I mean? This dude manages to sneak right into the tent. Luckily, Laurie's good with a machete and makes him split. Also, I love that he blinks even though he's dead. While they're distracted, the cannibals get the last boat hand. It's nice that they use an environmentally friendly straw to drink his guts. The next day, it's back to traipsing through the jungle, until the cannibals capture Susan and use her as a to-go meal. While Chandler and company are trying to save her, the cannibals attack. George is going to be an appetizer, apparently, because they start carving him up like a Christmas goose. They're so hungry they even eat his eyes, but since he was dead, he probably didn't see that coming. I'd also like to point out here that Mulatto somehow outlived multiple white people in this movie. That's impressive. Things are looking pretty dire for Chandler and crew, but what's this? A zombie? Zombie Holocaust finally gives us a zombie 49 minutes in. Way to take your sweet-ass time, movie. The cannibals are so terrified of the Walking Dead that they flee at the sight of them. Hate to eat and run, but yeah, we're out. After some more traipsing through the jungle, they somehow actually find the building where they're supposed to meet Dr. Obrero. Fun fact, if that building looks familiar, it's because it was also used in Lucio Fulci's Zombie. Zombie Holocaust has a lot in common with Fulci's classic. Some of the locations, the general plot line, Ian McCulloch playing a character named Peter, and so on. One of the movie's alternate titles was even Zombie 3, which positioned it as a sequel to Fulci's classic. Anyway, luckily for them, Obrero's already here, so they're saved, right? Or are they? Chandler realizes some things aren't quite adding up.
About 2 miles up the coast, you'll find a rubber dinghy. That'll take you back to your boat.
Laurie and Chandler make their way to this dinghy on the beach and are about to motor out to their boat, but things can't be that easy, right? Of course they can't. But before we get to that, it's time for some exposition.
And did you notice back there just how anxious he was that we should get away?
Do you think that what he wants to hide has something to do with the strange creature who saved us?
Yeah, or maybe he's just running a lucrative drug smuggling operation here and didn't want you to know. I mean, that seems more reasonable. After that, we come to one of Zombie Holocaust's most infamous scenes. Peter's trying to get the motor started, but look out, here comes a zombie. This zombie makes the classic mistake of bringing a knife to an outboard motor fight. I think this brings a whole new meaning to the phrase getting motorboated. And look, why is this zombie using a knife? Did he just wander over here from the set of Umberto Lenzi's Nightmare City? Chandler and Laurie decide to head back to Obrero's, but they somehow get lost along the way. It's easy to see why. This looks like a totally different forest pretending to be the jungle than the one they were in earlier. Also, when did the seasons change? Undaunted, they keep going, but don't look now because it's another trap. It's not a very good one because she manages to avoid even getting a splinter, let alone impaled on a spike. If you're keeping score at home, that's 2 traps and numerous instances of gut munching. All we need now is some quicksand to hit the Italian cannibal movie trifecta. While Chandler's trying to get her out, the cannibals show up. I love that they're wearing sensible little cannibal sandals. Chandler takes out one with a stick, then he squares off with the other. Man, he really does think he's Connor McLeod in some Italian Highlander ripoff. I said there can be only one. Look, there might be a design flaw with this trap. The cannibal missed all the spikes too. Clearly there are no engineers in this village. Or they ate them. If you're wondering what happened to Susan, she's still in this movie. Psych, it's just this zombie cosplaying Susan. Turns out the real Susan is over here at Obrero's place where he's practicing his Dr. Frankenstein routine. After this incision, we'll start extracting all the cherry Kool-Aid from her body. Oh yeah! Look, I'm gonna be honest, this is really a weird way to make moonshine. All of Susan's wailing is kind of annoying, which gives us this hilarious line.
The patient screamed, disturbing me. Performed removal of vocal cords.
So basically, all of this is the doctor's half-assed science fair project where he wants to put a woman's brain into a man's body. Because sure, why not? Doc, you should probably turn the pizza cutter on if you hope to chop through the skull. We can see it's not spinning. Meanwhile, Chandler's busy trying to jimmy open this door. A door that has no knob or locking mechanism to keep it closed. Inside, they find Obrero's collection of fine young cannibals. They're mostly just hanging around like the rest of us, waiting for the climax to kick into high gear. While exploring, Lori backs right into this jump scare. While Chandler dispatches the zombie, Obrero shows up with a special guest. No, not Mulatto. Man, I thought you were cool. Well, this seems like a good time for a Bond villain moment where Obrero explains everything. I'm on the verge of letting women know firsthand what it's like to have a penis and pee standing up. I'll be famous. The good doctor is ready to experiment on Chandler, but Chandler takes this opportunity to let Lori escape. What a gentleman. She makes it about 5 strides outside before she's caught by a cannibal. Nice work, Lori. Chandler's drugged, but fortunately Obrero left all these scalpels right in arm's reach. Hey, focus. Look, Chandler's drugged, not the cameraman. Whose hazy point of view is this anyway? Out here in the jungle, it's a cannibal sing-along as they burst into a rousing rendition of Kumbaya. If you thought the cannibals were going to eat Lori, you're wrong. They're just here to paint her up like she's some half-assed jungle hippie. The next morning, surgery's about to commence. And back at cannibal camp, they're either about to throw Lori into a volcano as a sacrifice, or maybe they're going to freeze her in this block of carbonite like her name's Han Solo. Oh look, it's that symbol again. Hey, remember her ceremonial dagger that got stolen in the first act? It's still in this movie. Wonder what they're gonna do with that. Before this general in the Kiss Army, Molucca Island chapter, can finish her off, the table moves. This apparently means she's the reincarnation of Shannon Tweed or something. They burst into a rousing rendition of Detroit Rock City right on the spot. Look at these dudes. They're natives alright. Of Little Italy. Back at the makeshift hospital, Chandler has managed to cut himself free and offers to give Mulatto a really close shave. Then he makes a break for it, but runs right into the zombies. Good work. He struggles to break free though, and then it's happy hour, and he's serving Molotov cocktails. Or maybe they're mulatto cocktails. Look, writing all these jokes is hard. Also, I love that these zombies are wearing sensible slacks. I'm guessing they're polyester the way they go up so fast. Then the cannibals come crashing in. By God, we got a real Donnybrook happening here at the Obrero place. Man, my Jim Ross still sucks. The savages make quick work of the zombie and then grab the doctor. Lori shows up and the cannibals are about to have a buffet in her honor, but she's a vegetarian, so she dips out. Outside, she and Chandler watch the mission burn while Chandler thinks, farewell, old set. I'm gonna miss that place. I did some of my finest acting in there. So, I feel like Zombie Holocaust might not have made a ton of sense narratively, but it definitely gave us a lot to chew on in terms of carnage. Just how gross was this one? Let's go to the gore card and find out. In terms of gross anatomy, Zombie Holocaust delivers. Although maybe not in the way you'd expect. There's nary a zombie killing a human in this one, but there's plenty of gut-munching cannibal goodness. We've got severed limbs, dismembered torsos, gouged out eyes, numerous human hors d'oeuvres, a bone saw to the head, and that unforgettable motorboat scene. Maurizio Trani and Rosario Prestipino handled the FX work on this one, and it's pretty great overall. Because of that, I'm giving Zombie Holocaust 4 barf bags out of 5. This is definitely a sick flick. Want to take another trip to Cannibal Country? Then be sure to check out my review of Cannibal Ferox. You'll find a link here on the screen. I'll meet you over there. Until next time, I'm Mike Bracken, aka the Horror Geek, bringing you all the splatter that matters.